På dagens ferievlog, der skal vi en tur op til Walk of Fame på Hollywood Boulevard. Og når vi er deroppe, så skal vi ud på en bustur også rundt i byen, hvor vi godt nok kommer ud på 3 lokationer, vi allerede har været. Og det er Beverly Hills, Santa Monica Pier og observatoriet. Den her gang, der er observatoriet dog åbent, så man kan komme indenfor og kigge, når vi er her. Så det kommer man også til at opleve nu i den video her. Så det er super fedt at have det med os. Jeg håber, I kan lide videoen, og lad os komme ind til det hele. Velkommen til dag 2 af vores lille tur til LA. I dag der skal vi op til Walk of Fame og have en halvdags tur deroppe rundt i området og til de forskellige seværdigheder det. Så det er jeg super spændt på at se hvad vi kommer ud og ser der. Så men vi vil hoppe ud i Mustangen og så komme afsted.
You're a rebel, getting into trouble. You are kinda like a fire, like a fire, like a fire. Unpredictable, so original. You are never backing down, backing down, backing down. That's what I like about you. So dangerous, I get this rush when I'm with you. I go all in to lose or win. Up to knock 'em down. It's the way we keep our high, moving like a hurricane. There will come a time for when we can wash away your sins, settle down, but until then, we're like a hurricane. You're so different, kind of ignorant. You don't care what people say, people say, people say. I'm going crazy for you, baby. Don't know how you're making me feel this way. What can I say? That's what I like about you. So dangerous, I get this rush when I'm with you. I go all in to lose or win. Real things up to knock 'em down. It's the way we keep our high, moving like a hurricane. There will come a time for when we can wash away our sins, settle down, but until then, we're like a hurricane.
Vi er kommet op til Walk of Fame heroppe. Og det er faktisk også ret fedt at gå her, hvor alle stjernerne ligger i fortovet med de forskellige store skuespillere og musikere og ja, alle mulige kendte personer generelt nede i fortovet. Vi har længere tilbage, det så I også i klippet, der længere tilbage, der så vi Johnny Depps stjerne. Og Eddie Murphy, den er faktisk lige her. Eddie Murphy stjerne. Så man ser altså en del stjerner fra en del skuespillere og sådan noget, man kender. Det er faktisk sindssygt fedt det her, og det kan kun anbefales, hvis man har muligheden for at komme herover og se alle de her stjerner gå igennem Walk of Fame. Det er en kæmpe fornøjelse det her. Så det kan kun anbefales. Og selvfølgelig nu, når vi var oppe på Walk of Fame, så skulle vi selvfølgelig også forbi Dolby Theater, som er både en biograf, altså Dolby biograf, og et lille shoppingcenter. Og samtidig med, så havde de også et udkigspunkt, hvor du kunne stå og kigge op til Hollywood-skiltet deroppe fra. Det var et super fedt sted at være, og jeg tror ikke det er sidste gang, jeg har været der og i LA generelt. Så det var en super fed oplevelse at komme derind. Og vi fandt faktisk også en automat, ligesom slikautomat eller sodavandsautomat, hvor du bare i stedet for kunne købe Hot Wheels. Det var lidt sjovt at se, for det er ikke noget du normalt ser derhjemme. Og efter en tur ned ad Walk of Fame og se alle de her stjerner ligge nede i fortoget og være inde på Dolby Theater og samtidig med at se alle håndaftryk og autografer nede i beton ude foran Chinese Theater, blev det endelig tid til at hoppe ombord på bussen på den der halvdags tur.
And then just look at that tight street if you can to the right. It's called Sweetser. If you remember the Amber Heard Johnny trial, that name kept coming up, Sweetser, because they own the 3 houses owned. Johnny still owns one, Amber still owns one, and one they sold, by the way, on that street. But one of those houses is where Amber pooped on the bed and blamed the dog. She framed the dog up there. Kind of stuff you just can't make up. Unlike Superman, one of the greatest stories ever told, they're doing a reboot. This is where Christopher Reeves was having a fight in the railroad car. Carney Express, Part 2. Up there on the right, when they called it as a nickname, the Riot House, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Now the restaurant is called Riot House. But think, everyone from Justin Bieber to Lindsay Lohan, they've all been kicked out for crazy activity. Motley Crue, The Doors, NWA, throwing pool chairs off the roof, setting it on fire. Jim Morrison of The Doors was hanging off the roof by his arms. Got the whole band kicked out for life. It sits right beside the Comedy Store, owned by Pauly Shore, his brothers and sisters, and it was founded by his parents, Mitzi and Sammy Shore, back in the 70s. That's where Jim Carrey met the Wayans brothers before they were ever on In Living Color. He was ever on In Living Color, their show. All about relationships. Yeah, so this area of West Hollywood, it was incorporated as a township in the 80s. It was always a place that prohibition never happened. And that leads me to tell you something else that's edgy about this area. You see that little Beetle over there? And then there's a newer Ford Transit delivery vehicle. That Beetle was actually making deliveries, but not only just like candy, that Beetle was delivering alcohol since the 80s, just in this little area, you know what I mean? So that's pretty revolutionary, because now you can kind of get alcohol delivered more places than not. But that wasn't a thing in the 80s. For most places, you have to go buy your alcohol in person. Otherwise, you got a little Volkswagen Beetle bringing it to you. The pink dot. Those of you who like Kobe, by the way, that mural illustrates just one of many. There's more individual. Kobe is the most painted person of any individual in LA. Reality show fans, real estate and reality. On the left side in just a second or so, you're going to see the Oppenheim off the hit reality show Selling Sunset, where Emma and Bree and Chriselle and Jason Oppenheim, one of the principals.
Right side up.
On the left side over there, y'all, Oppenheim.
I watched that. Yeah, I watched that.
They describe the agents, mostly female style, as being hyper Barbies.
Yes.
If that gives you an image. Hyper Barbies. Especially when they're doing the show, they'll wear out. I saw a couple women walk in, they look like Victoria's Secret models with the angel wings on, the lingerie, and it was passengers who told me, oh, those are Bree and Emma. And I was like, oh, who's Bree and Emma? And that's when I kind of learned. Everything I know about that show, I've learned from fan on the bus. I don't watch everything. It's impossible to. And I'll be mentioning something, though, that everybody likes to some degree before the tour is over. You know, some of y'all have never even heard of that show. Some of y'all have. There'll be something for everybody. You look on the left over there, Rocky and Bullwinkle. Animated duo. It all represents pride, which is why they just held the Pride Parade in West Hollywood. That duo is actually a pride icon, I found out when I did a little bit of Googling. And otherwise, you got this spot called Supreme. Supreme is the hip urban skater brand out of New York with fans like Tyler the Creator. It used to be the Tower Record location, a popular record store known for, you could be in there signing, getting your record, and that artist could just show up spontaneously and you get it signed. Signs of the Viper Room. That's the one that was founded by Johnny Depp over there on the left side, the all black, you can't see, can't miss it. That's where his best friend though, River Phoenix, he was only 23 years old when he passed away fatally on the sidewalk of an overdose. He was in front of his brother Joaquin, and Joaquin was only 16 years old that night. And you got this club called the Whiskey A Go-Go on the right. Robbie Krieger just sold this club out last night. He's a member of the Doors, you might know. The Doors got fired from this club when they sang that song, The End. The manager hated the lyrics so much. I'm pretty sure Robbie played that song last night. You know, that's poetic justice right there. That's one of their biggest hits, but it got him fired. That's a well-known story. And if you've seen the movie with the Doors with Val Kilmer, that scene was in it. Oh, look at these cool cars now. Oh, we got an old school Woody. I like that rascal. Oh, it's for sale. They're all for sale. I like that classic right there. But look at that classic in the window, that Countach. Pretty cool. Old school. A lot of people had posters of that car on their wall. And then if you like something else, that McLaren's nice too, but there's a Ferrari F40, the back end of that, if you can see it right there. That rascal's $2-3 million. My favorite is that old school 993, the last of the air-cooled Porsches. I hope y'all like cars. Again, something for everybody. HBO fans are advertising Minecraft. That's where you could go, Game of Thrones, House of Dragons, all the writers work, Euphoria. Over here on the left side, this is the club that, in the movie Up in Smoke, Cheech and Chong, they were trying to get to that club for the Battle of the Bands. Otherwise, Chili Peppers just played at the Roxy. And it sits right beside the Rainbow Bar and Grill. I can just say Cypress Hill and Motorhead. Of all the other names I could say, Cypress Hill is doing a documentary on HBO called Insane in the Membrane. They're in that club talking about their history. On the left, before we get to Beverly, basketball and Kobe fans in general, check out that ball. Because it literally might be the biggest you've ever seen. Or I should say the biggest real basketball. It was actually made by Spalding. They say a giant could bounce it. And that's the template of how Kobe signed his first name. It was put there for Kobe Day. The first one, we've already had a second Kobe Day, annual Kobe Day. Otherwise, the building is where Ray Donovan would have been going to visit Susan Sarandon the season that she was the big time producer. You know, Ray's a fixer, and he'd be doing things like blackmailing judges for her so she could get a movie made or get some kind of real estate deal done, and all kinds of fixer stuff. That game is also featured in GTA 5 for anyone who games. All of this is in it. GTA 5. Check out the nature of the trees, how orderly they are. And notice the shield if you can. We're going to go by the big sign later, the big long one. That's where the elephants are. I'm going to show y'all. I'll just say, to titillate your mind right now, I'm going to show you 100 life-size sculptural elephants made out of a weed that grows in India, an invasive weed. I'll get back to that later on, but when I say life-size, if it's at night, you might think the elephants are real. It took 5 years to make them. But I'll get to that later. Right now, let's go back to the 1800s. On the left, all of those trees, see again, each street has one kind. And look at how hard it is to see the power lines. That's the design nature of what made Beverly Hills popular for the first wealthy, famous, or not people. It was just the design of the place. It was made to be a prestigious neighborhood right from the beginning. It's always been the most expensive area of LA County. The houses go up to $300 million. On the left side though, that's the affordable housing section. They're basically $40 million or less. That was where Maria Valdez had a ranch until 1903. Her 10,000 acres of lima beans. The oil speculators thought they were going to hit a fortune. They didn't find any oil. That's why they had to subdivide it into an upscale neighborhood to kind of recoup. Look on the right side now, because these homes were never subdivided like by one big group. You can get bigger pieces of property. The biggest property in LA is 12 acres. I mean, in Beverly Hills it's 12 acres. This one is close to 2. It was built by Howard Hughes, the industrialist from the movie The Aviator, played by Leonardo DiCaprio. This is the house that Leo was landing the helicopter at, the same way Howard would have been flying to and from his own home. The 50-plus orange trees were set out by the Resnick family, the founder of Fiji Water. I should probably also mention this house is currently owned by Adele. It's one of 5 houses she owns in Beverly Hills, Adele, when she's not in UK. Look at all the security though, the cameras, the gates. There is a lifeguard booth. There's lifeguards behind that second gate. Alright, while I make this janky turn, you guys look on the right side and see the Pink Palace, they call it, the Beverly Hills Hotel, because it's always been that pink stucco since its inception in the late 30s, built by a family from Texas who already had oil money. And it's where Axel Foley went and got the bananas and the dinner rolls in the movie Beverly Hills Cops. You've seen it in Josh Flagg, the millionaire real estate guy, got married there. Motley Crue signed their original contract. They met their agents there with the music company. Otherwise, that's the kind of thing that happens there all the time. You know, it's power lunches. 9,000 would be the most expensive bungalow. 9, 10-ish, 12,000 or so. The bungalows out back. Little cottages, bungalows. By the way, Howard Hughes moved from his home while he still owned it, and he lived in that hotel as a hermit the last years of his life. Think about owning that house that we just saw with the orange trees, and then you live in that hotel right up the street. He was damaging the room so much, they threatened to kick him out. He was so wealthy, he threatened to buy the place and tear it down. He paid more not to have the room cleaned. Think about that, paying more not to have a hotel room cleaned. Alright, here we go. As slow as I can, looking out for traffic. And here's a park, everybody, where George Michaels, if you remember hearing about him getting arrested while trying to pick up a prostitute in the Beverly Hills Park on the right side. Undercover cop. Now notice the nature of this intersection. 2 lanes, 6 directional, circular. It's virtually empty right now, so it's very easy. But it does get to be 12 or so cars deep, all lanes. the traffic circle. Alright, while y'all are looking at these palm trees, which are the ones you've seen in so many movies and TV shows and music videos on Beverly Drive, the silver sable palms. Notice how the houses are massive, but the yards are fairly limited, little rectangles. That's the nature of what I was saying makes it 40 million or so, or less, the flats or the tracks. Remember, all of this was lima beans at one time. Look on the left side though, that's where Al Pacino would have been living until just about a few months ago. He rented that house on the left. One of the many long-term rentals, even in an area where you're talking 60 or some thousand a month, if not more. So there's the house where the property, you can only see a Statue of Liberty. It ties into the name of the house. The nickname was Statue of Liberty House. It was the one that was built by Greta Garbo, a Fallon era star. Historical property, but it was torn down by Rick Caruso. He owned it for about 6 years before he tore it down. I mean, no one ever lived in it that whole time while he was working on getting through whatever red tape there was. Alright, so here's another residential street, the Rodeo Drive. I also want to show you, look on the right there, you see that nice little car collection? But they don't have a garage, which isn't really a problem. But the people who do have the 15, 16, 18, whatever car garages, they make fun of this side of town because they call that Beverly Hills poor. The fact that they don't, yeah, I know, right? It's like the ultra rich looking down on the kinda rich. No, seriously, this house right here is going to shock you. You know, I've been throwing out crazy numbers. 22,000 square foot, 60 to 70 million. This is 1,800 square foot, 3-bedroom, $4.7 million. It was 6 is what the family wanted, 6. 2 years ago it was on sale. I looked it up just because I was so, you know, it's pretty small. I mean, the definition of mansion means big, impressive house. So that kind of means what you think it is. My apartment is smaller than that one, so that's a mansion to me. But otherwise, that's just an average starter home in America, which wouldn't be 4.7 most places. Check out the nature of that home. It's like they stained the stucco. I don't know who lives there, just cool house. The next one I know a lot about, the one you either love or hate. Now, if you're a fan of Antoni Gaudi out of Barcelona, Spain, then you already see the resemblance. But that's the home that the O'Neill family, non-famous business people, in 1978, they tore down their pre-existing mansion, you guys, to make it look like something that Gaudi would have built. And it is still in the family's name. So next up, you're going to see the elephants again and the Beverly Hills sign. I will go as slow as I can. $5 years worth of handmade. It's hard to believe that that's some kind of a weed though. It looks like wood. It must be like a really woody weed. But the fact that they use that latana, it pretty much is, you know, since it's an invasive species, the less of it, the better. There's no standalone brick and mortar restaurants over the next 4 blocks. That's what made Rodeo Rodeo. It's just strictly for fashion and jewelry retail. Notice that each store is very unique in its construction. The image. The Louis Vuitton on the left, that is not the main store. The main store is actually the biggest by square footage. The Cartier on the right is actually a secondary store while they're rebuilding their main store, which is going to be further up on the left corner. And those animal statues, like the blue gorilla over there, doing the thinking man pose, if you know. The artist, Orlinsky, last name, was chosen to display his art, but the sculpture of the cheetah in front of the Cartier, that is actually their symbol. That's their sculpture, their mascot. That's why there's one hand painted on the building. It took artists almost 6 months, you guys. Two different artists, almost 6 months to paint that cheetah. And that's why the cheetah is right there. See, the sculpture in the Dior looks like it could be that latana that the elephants were made out of, but that's a completely different situation. The window display. And then the biggest by square footage is over there on the right, y'all. Louis Vuitton, the flagship store, the cornerstone, or the anchor, as they say, these little corner buildings. So yeah, Pretty Woman fans. Now the hotel up ahead of us is where Julia was living invited to live with Richard. That penthouse, recently it was remodeled and it became the most expensive in LA. It was always the most expensive, but the new numbers is 5,000 square foot and 30-some thousand per night. The Lotus was parked right in front of the door. Julia pulled up in the Lotus. With the small feet, she was able to shift the clutch easier than Richard. Of all the things I could talk about, The Simpsons being up there again, the longest running animated show, the longest running TV show in history, Simpsons, made by Fox. And then there's a show called Succession, which is based on the Murdoch family. Roy Star Waco, that says Waystar Studios on the show.
Vi er nået til første stop i vores lille bustur. Det er igen nede ved Santa Monica Beach, eller Venice Beach hedder det, og Santa Monica Pier. Så der har vi lige 45 minutter hernede, og så kører vi videre på turen. Indtil videre der har det faktisk været en rigtig fed tur. Vi har set en del, som man ikke lige tænker over at køre ud og se på. Men, og så har vi selvfølgelig også fået en del historier om nogle af tingene. Så det er super fed tur indtil videre, i hvert fald pengene værd indtil videre at komme på sådan en tur. Så, men vi går rundt her og ser lidt mere hernede på Venice Beach og Santa Monica Pier, og så kører vi videre igen. Så går turen videre fra Venice Beach og videre rundt på den her køretur her.
See that big yellow pipe? Because this area had a smelly beginning. In 1909, the pier was just a support for a large sewage pipe that ran all the way out to the ocean, the whole length, dumping their sewage into the water. That went for almost 20 years. Yeah, I know, right? They literally said that this area was extremely smelly. When they made it, when they built the treatment plant, that's when the pipe became obsolete. And the pier still wasn't used it wasn't open to the public for many years after that. The amusement park came and made it one of the only free admittance parks.
So dangerous, I get this rush when I'm with you.
He had luck, real luck. He went from being well-to-do to being very, very wealthy. He struck oil by accident, drilling for water. He just wanted water. Makes it a little bit easier to water the cows and water the grass, you know, grow his hay. Just trying to irrigate.
But until then, we're like a hurricane.
Vi er kommet til stop nummer 2 på den her bustur her. Til Farmers Market, der har vi en time og et kvarter heroppe, hvor vi kan få noget at spise, og jeg bare kan se os lidt omkring, faktisk bare nyde det her fantastiske center, der egentlig er blevet lavet. Og jeg ved ikke, om I lader mærke til med historie, om jeg har noget for historien med om det her, hvordan det egentlig startede. Men han sagde, at det startede faktisk med, at der var en, der havde en hel masse marker og skulle grave efter vand til sine marker. Men i stedet for vand, så ramte han så noget olie i stedet for, og har så efterfølgende fået lavet, altså startet markedet op, som så blev større og større efterhånden, som det blev udviklet. Så det er faktisk en meget sjov historie, hvordan det her det egentlig startede. Fandme en spøjs butik det her. Du kan gå ud og handle ind samtidig med, så kan du altså også lige tage en sofa med hjem på vejen, når du handler ind. Det er sgu spøjs, så ser man ikke det hjemme det her. Det var nok et af de pæneste udendørsmarkeder, jeg har oplevet det herude. Hvis alle steder eller alle lande i verden de lavede udendørscenter som det her, og specielt derhjemme, så tror jeg faktisk, at der er rigtig mange flere, der vil besøge dem. For det var virkelig pænt lavet det her. Men ja, jeg håber, at man finder nogle flere, så at lignende det her i fremtiden. For det var rigtig godt lavet det her.
Alright, next up. Here's a local LA success story. Just over 10 years, that Dave's Hot Chicken on the left. In less than 10 years, or just over 10 years, it went from being two Armenian friends over in Little Armenia making chicken sandwiches in their kitchen and just selling a couple hundred of them to meeting up with Drake, he endorsing it along with Post Malone. And now they recently got a $1 billion buyout in less than 13 years. Looks like they're painting murals on the right. No doubt, that would actually be, that's a Nike, if you look over your shoulder, that's a Nike, basically Nike always puts their murals on that building. So, it's pretty cool we got to see it start now. Look on the right though, because this is a local flea market. We saw a vintage store earlier and I was saying how you never know what you'll find. Same thing. This flea market's been going on since 1982 at the Fairfax High School, which is just over 100 years old. It is where Demi Moore, Mila Kunis, Tito Jackson is the only Jackson 5 that went there. Fairfax. 90210. For Los Angeles, it's a little bit more complicated, going all the way back to 1781 when Spain owned this area. They came up with a 10-word name, El Pueblo de Nuestra Sonora Lorena de Los Angeles. I'm butchering the Spanish right now, but you guys, it loosely translates to the town of Our Lady Queen of the Angels, which is where the city of angels comes from. People got tired of saying all 10 words. They simply went with Los Angeles. Nowadays, people just say LA. But look at that Maybach right there. Check out the wheels on that rascal. That's all Platinum's handiwork. Talk about low-profile tires, man. There's hardly any rubber on those tires whatsoever. But they're well-known local aftermarket detailer, otherwise called pimping out your ride. The one from that show, West Coast Customs, is over in Orange County from the show Pimp My Rides. The local ones is RDB and Platinum. Very popular. The sign is right over their shoulder. So just kind of imagine the executives, I'm getting this lane, go real slow. Y'all can check out the building on the left. Imagine the executives having that vision of the fact that the sign can not only represent the town, but their business. So it sits on approximately 90 to 100 acres. And notice that sign right there that says I Love Lucy Square. Because by the time Desi came along, Lucy, with their production company, it was already established that the studios could do deals with the actors. The couple who had the chandelier in their house, they were the first to start a production company, and they were sued by Paramount at the time. Mary Pickford Douglas. Alright, let's see if this works out. Y'all can have your cameras out. I'm going to do as slow as I can. The main sign is right there, the Melrose Gate. This traffic is doing back there. They're going around. Y'all go ahead and look around. Look over there. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Got a couple more seconds before I got... Oh, they're all going around. It's always good on a Sunday, very light traffic. Charlize Theron is in there working on Atomic Blonde Part 2. She's working on Atomic Blonde Part 2 at Paramount. And then across the street, if you like the old guard, Charlize Theron, she's doing that Part 2 over here at Netflix. Matter of fact, it's already about to come out, if it's not already out. Netflix, Raleigh Studios, it's all owned by Netflix, everybody. If you can see for a second, it's going to say a lot about Squid Games. Got traffic behind me this time. I'm going as slow as I can. I haven't gotten into that show yet. I gotta go back and watch season 1 because apparently they're already on season 3 to see what's going on. You can see some of the Griffith up there, but primarily I just want to show you how that hillside is all bare. You might can see some trails, a faint outline of trails. Griffith Park is 60 miles of trails, and it surrounds the observatory. It's part of what makes the park a really cool place to go hang out, which means going walking to the top or just going to the Greek.
Tredje stop her på den tur heroppe, den bustur her, det er observatoriet heroppe igen, som vi også var forbi i går. Den her gang der er vi så på et tidspunkt, hvor det faktisk er åbent i observatoriet, så vi kan se lidt mere heroppe nu, når vi er her. Og vi har en halv time heroppe, så der er masser af tid til at se det forskellige heroppe også, hvis man har lyst til det. Og den her gang, der var vejret også noget mere klart, så man også kunne se skyline i Los Angeles ude i baggrunden, når man stod her ved observatoriet. Og samtidig med, så var der så åbent, så du kom op på taget, og ind i en af kublerne, en af de små kubler, godt nok at se teleskopet, der stod herinde. Det var faktisk også en fed oplevelse at se det.
All white mansion with a really cool fence around it. The one that I was talking about for Jack Black. On the left side, the corner. Behind the scenes, Capitol will sue developers. This parking lot was going to be an apartment building. They got blocked by Capitol after court battle. The Argyle house was built by Rick Caruso, was able to defeat Capitol in court. Or just pay the lawyers until one side gives up. Little stage where actors can come out and do a little presentation during the show. But Netflix brought them out and they now use it for their movie or TV show premieres. They do the same thing in that little courtyard as what the Chinese theater does in the courtyard, the one with the footprints and the handprints.
Og så efter en del timer på den her tur, så var vi tilbage på Hollywood Boulevard, og så gik turen egentlig bare tilbage til hotellet. Hvis der sidder nogen derude, der overvejer eller skal til Los Angeles, så er det kun anbefales at tage ud på sådan en tur, hvor man kommer ud til Beverly Hills, Santa Monica Pier, Farmers Market og så observatoriet. Det var en super fed tur, og du fik nogle super fede historier også om det forskellige. Og du fik også, det så jeg også i klippet, man fik at vide, hvor blandt andet Jack Black bor. Og der er også nogle andre steder, hvor man får at vide, at de bor der eller har boet der. Ja, og det synes jeg bare er super fedt. Vi er kommet tilbage på hotelværelset efter den her tur her. Og vi skal ikke rigtig ud og se så meget mere efterfølgende efter den tur, vi har været på nu. Så jeg tænker bare, at jeg vil slutte videoen af her. Tusind tak fordi I har set med, og husk, hvis I ikke allerede har gjort det, så like og subscribe til kanalen. Det hjælper mig sindssygt meget. Og så ses vi selvfølgelig i næste video. Kan I have det godt.
Velkommen til CMO YouTube, yeah. Det er Chris her, klar til at skrue biler, tricks, vi gør det rigtigt. Så spænd dig fast, vi starter hurtigt. Yo, tryk på play, det er nu vi går ind. CMO ruller op, du ved vi går all in. Motoren brøler, jeg styrer det vildt. Fra garage til vej, vi flyver som ild. Gadens kong, jeg trykker på speederen. Fart i mit blod, ja, jeg er lederen. Tricks og tips, du ved jeg har det. Smadrer rekorder, du ved jeg klarer det. Gør dig klar, for vi starter nu. CMO i gear, jeg kører for vildt, du brænder gummi. Vi tager det til max, YouTube King. Ingen kan matche mit act. Vlog hver dag, ja du ved vi lever. Laver content, men